Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, Pixel Chain family and Whale family. I'm really excited to be here today with the legendary Myrta, the graffiti retiree, digital pensioner, and NFT newborn. Thanks for being with us.
How you going?
Thanks
for having me.
Really excited to see some live pixel art and get to know you today. So why don't you talk us through what you've got? Yeah, no worries. But I'm sure everyone's gonna think this is super awesome, and I'm really excited to hear about your thought process with this. And if you could just tell us more about what you're making today and the history behind it.
Yeah, the first one. Well, I'll explain what it is once it's finished, because then I'll give a bit more of a surprise as I'm creating it, because I just want people to see, like, not understand what the final image is until it's completed. Bit of a mystery.
Cool. Oh, I love that.
Then I can explain, the thought process behind it and all that sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
So maybe if I just begin.
No, go ahead. And do you mind if I ask some questions about your?
No, not at all.
Sweet. Okay, so for those of us who might not be aware of Myrta, although I'm pretty sure at least our fans from Melbourne are familiar. So how did you make your foray into pixel art from being a graffiti artist and a graphic designer? And yeah.
Well, basically, I got into graphic design a few years after graffiti, and then it was sort of just part of a customization of a few icons, like Mac folder icons. Around the late 90s, early 2000s, it was just a big thing. There was like Icon Factory, which was a website which had different folder icons you could customize, and they just had different themes and sets, like, the Muppets and old Macs and different things like that. And I sort of just saw it and thought, how cool is this? Being able to customize your own sort of icon on your computer. So it sort of all came about from that.
That's really cool. Yeah. And it's interesting how, like, pixel art, it started out as mostly utility, but now it's like its own thing. And it's really awesome that, with apps like Pixel Chain, it's become something that's really easy for people to create without any kind of paid app, and they can create an NFT out of it and immortalize it on the blockchain, which is super cool.
Oh, it's such a good little program. Like, it's very similar to some of the older ones that I used, but it's just really easy to use, which I love.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have any, like, constructive feedback for it? I find that it's really super intuitive and easy to use, but I'm curious what somebody who, this was their actual job years ago. Is it?
I feel like it's got, I think it's got some things that could be, looked at, but generally it's fine. Like, I had a few issues with trying to import the palettes, but then I saw that there were palettes on your Discord, and they imported absolutely fine. And then I started just customizing the text on the file and just putting in my own colors for my own palette, and that worked. The other thing is importing already minted NFTs through this little link down here. You can basically you just click it, put the address or basically the code, and then just approve it, and then it'll just bring in the artwork. Because it's embedded on the blockchain, it just comes in. That's
so cool.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So you can basically, I could create this now and then just delete it, but if it's minted, I can bring it back.
Yeah. You can also bring it back too by copying the code when the art is finished.
All right.
Yeah. If you copy it and paste it in a text file, you can come back to Pixel Chain and use the developer. It's usually under developer tools, depending which. Depending which browser you use, you can look at the code, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So how were you introduced to the crypto art world, and how did you end up discovering Pixel Chain?
That's a good question. probably, you know, one of the major artists in Melbourne, Australia, would be definitely like Lush Sucks. You know, just seeing what he's been doing with it all, and I chat with him on Instagram, and he was sort of saying, look, you know, you need to get on this. You need to do. You've got such a large digital history that you should, you know, look at doing some stuff on it or with it, you know. And from that, I sort of started looking into it, and then a friend showed me, you know, the Pixel Chain website, and as soon as I saw it, it just clicked. I just thought about, you know, the previous icons I designed in 1999, and just thought, God, that would just suit this perfectly. And because it was 32-bit and a 32 grid, and I'm just like, oh yeah, perfect match.
Perfect. So that was your friend that introduced you to Pixel Chain, or just the crypto art?
Yeah, different friend introduced me to Pixel Chain and said, you know, here's an app.
Yeah.
But it was also the fact that it embeds the design on the blockchain. I think that I like that, you know, the notion of it's not on a server somewhere, it's embedded, you know. Yeah. It's just such a good concept. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're constantly improving it. The Pixel Chain team, they're incredible. So I'm sure this is less than a year old, and it's already on its second version. So there's more to come for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm just counting pixels.
No worries. It's good to see part of the process, you know.
That's the thing. It's just the it sort of reminds me of Lego a little bit. You know, it's a similar sort of thing because the grid.
Yeah, or like Tetris too, in my mind. Yeah. So, do you see yourself or other street artists, graffiti artists coming into the NFT space and starting to, you know, use it as a way to immortalize their work and monetize it?
Definitely, it's already happening now. There's a lot of graffiti artists getting in on the different platforms at the moment. Soffle's one of the major Australian graffiti artists, has just released something, I think this weekend, and that's, you know, sold for 2.5 ETH, which was great. That's
so great. I mean, all these years. Oh, sorry. Finish what you were saying.
Yeah, basically, like, you know, there's a lot of artists struggling. Like, you know, most of them probably do murals and get paid a few $1,000s. You know, selling an NFT for $5,000–6,000 is basically a good income to continue doing your own work. Yeah,
especially on the resale too. You just continue to receive from something that you created once, and you know what was like bittersweet, but it's like part of the je ne sais quoi about street art is that it's impermanent. But I feel like for an artist, it's heartbreaking to like see your work be destroyed, like the building is gone or it gets painted over. But if you create an NFT of your street art, take a photo of it or a video of the process and immortalize that, and then you can continue to receive you know, financial support from it for the rest of your life.
That's amazing.
And beyond, like, yeah.
It's the best system for artists. Like, that's the thing. It's just so transparent. That's the thing that I love about it. It's just shaking up the whole gallery scene.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We're gonna have to catch up. Yeah, there's no more. I mean, I could see the galleries trying to find ways to become the middleman, you know, in this space. Like, of course they will. And maybe that'll work for some artists, but I feel like the pay to play, or I mean, I know it's not all pay to play, but it's like, that's not going to be the future of this space. And even with increasing gas prices and all of that, like all these different blockchains are creating ways to make it more financially accessible for artists to mint their work. So I don't know, I just see it getting better and better for artists and collectors. It's become a more symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, it really cuts out the middle person, you know.
And then the collectors in the space are showcasing their collections work digitally, and everybody can see it. They're showcasing it in Decentraland and crypto voxels, and and as virtual reality becomes better and better as a technology and more accessible, the sky's the limit with how we can display art and like have people be immersed in it. Yeah,
I think once the technology, once we have like screens that you can buy at the shop to display your NFTs, is the next step, instead of like small frames or whatever, just having large screens made for that.
Yeah, totally. Or like home projectors, and I don't know, I can see it. I'm sure it's just only limited by our imaginations, like what's going to be able to be done between AR and VR and this technology.
Yeah, it's such a good technology, and it's just amazing how quick it's going to just speed up artists innovating. It's almost like I see NFTs like how the graffiti scene was, just that adrenaline and vibe, just the good energy that artists create, feeding off each other and creating. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally see this a symbiotic relationship between artists in the NFT space. There are 3D artists that are sharing the work of other 3D artists, and pixel artists that are sharing the work of other pixel artists, and it doesn't feel like, oh, just because they're using the same medium as me that they're competition. There's this feeling that there's room for everybody, and that's very much like graffiti culture, and but there's like a code within that culture too. And I think that code involves integrity in different ways. Yeah. Yeah.
It's linking artists, which is great. Like just strengthening the community.
Yeah. So what communities aside from Pixel Chain have you started looking into as you're exploring the crypto art space?
Other platforms?
Mm-hmm. Other platforms, or Discord communities, pixel art communities, if they're out there. Yeah.
I'm such a Discord noob. It's like, I used to have a MySpace, which was a thing.
I think we all did.
I'm getting into it. Mm-hmm. Twitter, like I'm on Twitter. I had a Twitter account, but years ago. But it's difficult trying to make art and be like on social media also. And I've got kids, so it's like you can't continuously be on the screen all the time. Dad, what are you doing? You're on your phone again. So it's trying to find a balance of creating, communicating, and family life, I suppose.
Totally, yeah. And the crypto art space can be like a wormhole of just there's just so many directions to go in and people to listen to and follow and look at their art and be inspired by. And it seems like Twitter is really the place where it's like you can find out where people are playing, and Discord right now seems to be the primary place where like these different communities have their private spaces. But I know Discord is like really daunting for a lot of people. And I mean, myself included, when I first started using it, I was like, how do I keep track of all these things? I'm going to be on Discord all day. And my boyfriend was like, yes, that's what's going to happen.
I'm finding the same thing. It's a bit overwhelming, just the whole Discord thing. I'm sort of like, how does this work? What does this do? Yeah,
but do you find the channels that have the stuff going on that resonates with you, and like it seems like there's like mini communities within each channel like that people tend to frequent, and I feel like there's no reason to have fear of missing out, FOMO, if you're not active in some other part of the space. I think that just playing and exploring and being led by what's exciting for you, like you'll be in the right place at the right time as an artist or a creator in the space. Yeah. That's what's happened for me. So it's been good. Just following the joy and excitement,
Sorry if I'm a bit quiet. I'm just concentrating.
It's all right. That's coming together so fast.
I've never done live drawing before. Like when I was a graphic designer, or I'm still a graphic designer, but when I used to do work for clients, you know, one of the no-nos was never design with the
client over your shoulder.
Next to you, yeah. Because it's like you get nothing.
I know that feeling. Yeah,
it
no,
sort of feels like that. Like, you know, I'm not getting someone going, hang on, you've got that pixel in the wrong spot.
No, I'm just like totally excited, and I'm amazed that it's done, like nearly done this quickly. So
yeah.
I would be that easy client, like, wow, that's great, thank you. Here's your money. Please leave.
It's probably from my boss saying, don't spend too long on that.
No, I worked in advertising as a designer and art director for about 18 years. And there was many late nights with like the team, you know, working on a pitch deck and like making last minute changes and, you know, developing the like fortitude for that. Yeah. So no, I hope that this doesn't feel like that kind of pressure at all for you.
A little bit. I'm a bit nervous for some reason.
Oh no. Yeah, I feel nervous going live myself, and I've been doing it for quite a few months now, doing interviews with Pixel Chain and Whale. But there's always that like element of excitement before I go live, but I don't know, just to be totally transparent, you know, I always feel a little bit awkward too, but I think that's normal.
It's I've done public speaking before, like where I've, you know, spoken about my work, and you know, I always get super nervous beforehand, but once you start, you know, talking, then you know it gets a bit better.
Totally. Yeah, it's like the first like 5-10 minute warm up, and then like, okay, cool, I can talk. Yeah, but you know, I think like most artists are kind of like we want to be seen, but we don't at the same time. It's like this really weird push and pull.
That's a good thing about graffiti.
Yeah.
It's being anonymous.
Yeah. And what's cool about blockchain too is like you can totally find ways to have a completely anonymous persona and create art and have that freedom too, and still reap the benefits financially. So something to think about if you wanted to create an alias.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can just create an alias account and do different artwork.
Yeah. I feel like, don't you feel like in the beginning of the like early internet days that was true for the internet, and then like Facebook came, and I think it was like really MySpace started it, but it was like those social networks that like asked you to use your full name and not like a handle or something. I feel like it kind of made the anonymity, is that how you say it? Anonymity go away. And like, now there's this new space that you can, you could have a, you know, alt persona as an artist that nobody knows that it's you. And I think that that's very appealing as an artist. I haven't tried to do it yet, but it just seems like it would be fun.
I have looked into it. I do have an Alex account set up just for fun, just in case I think, oh, well, that style might suit that more than like my profile. It's endless with what you can create, which is, you know. I'm getting a bit confused with the amount of brays I've got.
It's like, wait, which one? Even with it in chromatic order, it's like you can't tell which one I want to use.
Got 1, 2, it's 3. All right, you can probably see what I'm drawing there. Oh
yeah, totally. So, what's the significance of the pencil icon for you?
Well, this was originally part of the icon set that I released in 1999. So it was on my website back then, and it was a free download that you could download the complete series of these different images that I created. And I just sort of thought that the pencil was probably the one, because that's where ideas start, or the translation from an idea to paper or to the physical generally starts with a pencil sketch. You know, that's the start for a graffiti piece. Is generally a sketch. It's the start for a design or a layout or an illustration. So it's basically whether an idea gets transformed into reality. And also the whole, I'd never sort of thought about it, but just the icon that you use to make pixel or pixel art is the pencil. Same in Photoshop. It's generally the pencil that you use to create pixel art or an icon.
Yeah.
And I sort of like that, you know, that link. And I thought, well, that's perfect. That's the first NFT. It's the perfect image for me because it's the start of everything.
Yeah, it's full circle.
Yeah.
Coming from where you started. That's super cool. So do you see yourself creating NFTs and like exploring all the different mediums that you use in the future? Like, I know that you, you're like, I don't even know where to start.
That's the thing. I've got like a spreadsheet of just absolutely all my ideas and just how I'm going to release them. Because I've got a very broad style. I've sort of got to just hold back a little bit. Like, and try to just concentrate on, you know, what to release and what styles to do. But I just can't wait to get into some new, like, I'm so, I haven't sort of touched 3D stuff. I use Rhino, like more CAD stuff for 3D printing. But I sort of like looking at, you know, Blender or Cinema 4D. I've sort of thought that I should get into that. I just want to sort of dabble with some stuff.
That sounds cool.
It's just amazing, the technology. I see kids on YouTube just basically doing like a metallic surface on a car. You know, it's got you know, flakes in it, and you know, it's rendered, and it's like, oh my god, I want to get into that.
The stuff that's out there is like mind blowing and like mesmerizing work that if it's just like a loop, I could just like stare at it all day, especially that iridescent stuff. And I'm just like, how do they do that? Like, it looks like, and I know that work takes hours and hours of time. At least I would assume just the rendering process takes hours, like once you're finished. But so that sounds cool. Like, if you're using AutoCAD and the 3D printers, that maybe down the line you have a future for some physical components to your NFTs, which sounds super cool.
Totally. Because of COVID last year, basically, I just bought a 3D printer, which I was lucky to get because it was just, they were such in high demand. And then just last year, I was just exploring and learning how to use it. It's just such a good thing for prototyping as an artist because I love sculpture and, you know, I CAD stuff up. I just thought, wow. And then, you know, the NFT thing came and thought, well, I can actually sell 3D objects because they're already CADed up. You can actually, you know, sell a CAD basically, where you can rotate it. And
yeah, that sounds super cool. Yeah, it feels like the possibilities are endless for you. And I think that getting into pixel chain and reaching back to your roots in pixel art is a good place to start bringing attention to yourself in the space. And I'm just very curious to see what's next. And yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know or who's not on the Whale Discord, that's tomorrow there's going to be an artist fireside chat where we'll get more in depth about Myrta's background as an artist and designer. And it's more than graffiti art, more than design. He's played with a lot of different mediums and had a lot of experience. So you'll get to hear even more about him tomorrow. And so I heard from a little bird that you are going to be doing a drop soon, but it's still, there's still some aspects that are secret about it. So keep your ears to the ground and definitely tune in tomorrow to the Whale Discord so you can hear more about that.
Definitely in the next 24 hours.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, tomorrow will basically be, well, almost like a murder. This is your life.
Awesome.
It's extremely hard because I've got like 3 decades of work to sort of condense it into a time frame.
Yeah.
So it's always a bit of a challenge because I like to keep it short. I don't want it to go for too long. So I'm just trying to work out, you know, compress, I suppose it's each decade almost.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is, you know, you have these different Discord communities like Pixel Chain and Whale, and you can always like share what's going on with you in our off-topic channels. And in Pixel Chain, we have Show Off Your Pixel Art channel. So, you know, you can keep us posted on what you're doing. And, you know, it doesn't have to be just 1 hour sharing about your experience. And yeah, they're both really awesome communities with people who just want to help each other and learn from each other. So yeah, really excited to have somebody with 30 years experience in multiple fields. So that's super exciting that you're coming into this space.
People sort of look at the pensioner thing and go, pensioner, what does that mean? Yeah, stuff just here.
But this is what's so cool about this space is people from all ages and backgrounds are here and welcome. And I think it's important for people in the, you know, pensioner generation to come into it too and like see the excitement's up there. If you're a creative person, no matter what age you are, like this is an amazing space to be in.
Yeah, definitely just sharing experience and knowledge.
Yeah, everyone's just so generous with it here. Yeah,
and that's what makes the artist community good, is when people share.
Totally, because then everybody wins, everybody learns.
I think that's pretty much it. So that's my first NFT image.
Yay! Okay, so this is going to drop in the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in the Pixel Chain Decentraland gallery. So stay tuned for that, everybody. And I'm going to share your info in the chat one more time. And I'll also share in stream text the info for the Artist Fireside chat tomorrow, so you can get to know Myrta even more intimately, which I'm super excited about. So you're doing, this is the second piece?
Yep, second piece. I never use the mirror tool. I just don't like it for some reason. But it's actually, it works well. Now.
Hold on, just finding the Twitter post for the Whale interview tomorrow. I had it up and I lost it.
That's a bird. Instead of, I just made a mistake and, you know, I thought about undo, and it reminded me of something like there's that King spray on the Oculus Quest. It's basically graffiti virtual reality, so where you can spray walls. And I was reading the comments and someone was like, well, there isn't an undo. And I'm like, you know, in graffiti, have an undo.
Yeah, no, there isn't. Not in real
funny
life.
Concept. And I think they eventually put it in, but it's like, oh my God, you just got to spray over it. You know, keep it real.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't have undo on everything.
It's true. I mean, it's helpful, but I don't know, there's something about just like starting over on the existing canvas, and you're just like, well, I just gotta keep working with what's there and hope it turns out. Like sometimes, I don't know if you know about Bob Ross being from Melbourne. Do you know that painter from America? Oh, he was like a famous like painter, landscape painter, and he would come on our public broadcasting station and would do live paintings that you could like follow along to. And he always used to, you know, say that like there's no mistakes, and like, you know, they're happy accidents that happen. Like, yeah, he was like a very beloved, soft-spoken host, and he's unfortunately no longer on this plane. But I always think of him, or I try to think of him when I'm working on my own art, so that you don't get like caught up in like self-doubt when you start, like it's not turning out how you want it to. And he's kind of like a little angel on your shoulder that's like, it's just a happy accident, keep going, just because you're enjoying yourself.
That's nice. It's good to have those sort of memories when something reminds you of a person or...
Yeah, totally. And Bob Ross was something that I have like such tender memories of it. Going after school, I would do my homework and eat a bowl of cereal and watch Bob Ross, and usually fall asleep at my grandma's house. So yeah, Bob Ross has a special place in my heart.
My grandmother was an artist, and she was an artist, you know, early on, and then she had kids, and then picked it back up afterwards. And then she used to always say to me, "It's knowing when to stop is the key." Like, and I always remember that, because sometimes you can take things too far with art, like just a visual balance. And you know, the trick is knowing when to say, "Well, that's finished." It was just something that I always remember.
Yeah, that's really great advice. And I feel like if you were trained as an artist, like if you went to art school, which you did, correct?
A little bit. It's sort of, yeah, I'm not sure if it did much for me.
I went to art school, and I feel like it made it very difficult for me to make art for many years afterwards, because it was just so much like other people's ideas of what I should be doing.
So true.
And I feel like I've seen a lot of very successful artists in the NFT space who are not didn't go to art school, and their work is technically amazing and also just conceptually you know, exciting and interesting, and they just create prolifically all the time. They have so much work out, and you know, I don't think that they have as much of you know, like a critical voice in their mind that's like thinking about like, oh, what's the teacher gonna say during the critique, and like it has to mean something, and it has to be deep and epic, and I think that just stops you from playing. And I think play is at the core of creation and art.
Yeah.
And you're not playing if you're thinking about what other people think too much, or
it's almost like an ego.
Even, yeah, it's an ego thing. And like, even if you have something in your own mind of what you want it to look like, and you're too attached to that, then it's no longer fun. If it's not turning out how you want, you know, you're trying to force something, and it's like, I think creating play as an artist is the most important thing that's going to keep you going. Because if it feels like a grind too often, then like, what's the point? You know, life is too short.
Yeah, you need that energy. Like, I see art as being energy, and sometimes the energy is not there. You know, because most artists know that you can't create 24/7. Sometimes you just have a mental block, and it's like you're not in balance.
Yeah.
And I just sort of see, like, my auntie used to say something about energy coming straight. She said, always keep your head straight, because the energy comes from above.
That makes me want to sit up straight.
Yeah, and That was sort of another thing I remember, and I thought, yeah, well, art is an energy, and when you're not in tune, you sort of, you know, it doesn't happen as well. And when I feel that I'm in tune, like with ideas, and my brain's just continuously going off, I try to write down as much as I can, because I know when you have the down points when you can't create, you can refer back to those ideas, and then that sort of helps with getting out of it. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, because it seems like the ideas come in a flood, and you're like, how am I going to get all this done? But and sometimes you just don't think to write it down. But that's a great idea to just have like a spreadsheet of ideas, and when you're blocked, just come back to them. I don't know why I never thought that.
Just little sketches of things.
Yeah,
it does help. Because when I was younger, I used to, you know, I'd have the mental blocks and try to get through it. Especially when you're a commercial artist, you have to get it done. You know, and sometimes you just can't draw properly. I have days where I draw like my children draw better than me. You know, well, they do anyway, but you know, it's like that. You lose it all. It's a bizarre feeling.
Yeah. I have that experience working in advertising too, and you're just like so tired after work that there's no energy for, even if you do have ideas, like it's just hard to muster the energy for it. And I'm sure with the family, you know, finding that balance is really difficult. But yeah, I think that there's a balance. You know, you can't go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but like, you also can't just wait for the muse to come either, like as an artist, because sometimes it's like months before when that happens, or years for some people. And I think that's totally normal, but it's really easy to compare yourself as an artist sometimes and think like, oh, I should be doing more. You see other people just somehow churning stuff out. At least that's been my experience. I'm always really impressed by people that just can show up every day with everything else that they have going on, you know, in their lives.
The juggle,
yeah. But it seems like more and more artists are, especially with the NFT space, and I think as it grows, more different types of creatives are going to be able to create different levels of success for themselves and have more control of their time and their art. So it's a really good time to be an artist right now, I think.
It's an amazing time. Like, this has never happened in history. Like, it's amazing. It really gives artists power, which is a good thing, because it's difficult to be an artist in society.
Yeah. There's everything. They make it extremely hard. Yeah. It's interesting that art is used and consumed so much, especially during quarantine. It's what's kept people who've had to stay home sane, you know, watching films and enjoying other people's art, listening to different DJs, people creating music, or they're creating their own music and art. You know, these things have immeasurable value, like existential value, and help humans feel good. And I think for a long time, it's been wildly undervalued because of that. You know, it's consumed a lot, but then like people don't want to pay a designer or, you know, a musician or somebody to like work on stuff for their film. They want to pay them dirt cheap because they just want to get it done. And it's like, but this is something that people are meant to enjoy. And how do you put a price tag on that? And how can you not pay artists, you know, a livable wage, or think that just because they enjoy it, that they should be paid less?
That's like graffiti. They say, well, you paint it for free in the streets, so you can paint it for free for me.
It's like, everyone still has rent or a mortgage to pay. Like,
it's just the way our society is.
Yeah, totally. But it feels like this is we're like at the precipice of something really big for artists of all kinds. Yeah, and I just like, we haven't even like fully tapped into what this could be yet. So it's super exciting to be an artist right now. Yeah, if anybody in the chat has a question for Myrta, please, you can tag me and let me know. This is like ASMR therapy, listening to the clicks for me.
I'd like to see a tally of all the clicks I've done in my life.
Oh God, I've thought about that before too. It's like wild. It's probably like the same number of cells in our body, which is also a ridiculous amount. Someone was asking in our chat, how do you decide on a color palette when making your pieces?
I sort of like, with drawing, I used to do a lot of ink drawings just with black, white and grey. Hang on. Just with black and red, and then like a grey as well, which I used to mix up. So my palettes, generally there used to be these colours. So grey and red, bit of black. With palettes, I try to keep it minimal. Pick a few colours and then just do the shades, because the with this stuff it's very three-dimensional. I just keep it simple. So you've just basically got, you know, 10 greys, whatever, to create the depth. Hopefully that answered it.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting how like a limited color palette can also create a lot of dimension too, and it's just a lot bolder. There's just like more contrast, and but that's like an art in and of itself, is just being able to see how you can play with colors like that. So GT is in the chat asking, when is Myrta coming to paint the gallery walls at Milk Bar? So I don't know about Milk Bar. This sounds like this is an inside thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm so flat out at the moment. It's ridiculous because of the, you know, wanting to do new work. I'm trying to organise my NFT work. So maybe next year. I've actually just got a large. I'm in the process of negotiating a large mural in Melbourne, which is good. It's important to keep. I don't want to be like drawn into just doing computer work, because with the whole digital space, it's easy to sit in front of the screen all the time.
Yeah.
It's you know, murals are hard work. It's physically hard work, and because I'm getting older, it's harder for me. Like, you know, you finish something and you really feel it in your bones. Yeah. Yeah. I love doing it. I completed a mural last year. It took about probably around 5 days, just, you know, 17-hour days.
Yeah, that's grueling.
Yeah. But, you know, the outcome is worth it.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, mural art is amazing. And like just really thinking about literally the artist is putting their whole body and spirit into that work. Literally, it's really cool stuff. And I hope that y'all have followed Myrta. I've shared his links. You can check out more of his graffiti art. It's really, his street art is really amazing. Lucy Ducey is asking, what are your memories of creating art on the Macintosh in 1999?
Because basically the way I got into computers was I used to draw pen and ink drawings for a clothing brand from the sort of early 90s to mid 90s. And what was happening with basically they were line art, which was, they'd scan those in, or the agency, or let's start again. Basically the client that I was designing t-shirts for would get my artwork as a line drawing, just in pen and ink, and he would take it to these guys, these graphic designers, and they would they had Quadras and Macs, and they'd scan it in and streamline it, which is basically, I think, live trace in Illustrator. So they'd convert it to a digital format and then color it and then output it, and then it'd get printed on a tee. And from that, that's how I got into computer graphics. The person at that company basically offered me a job and said, come work for us, I'll teach you how to do computer. So that was probably around 95. And like the programs back then were pretty much the start. I think I was using Photoshop 5, Illustrator 5.5, Freehand 5, and Quark 4. It's probably another one. They were great programs. Like I've got an old G5 which still has Mac Classic, which is Mac OS 9 running, and I can still open those old programs, and because I need to open old files because I've got so much old stuff backed up.
It's so cool that you still have all that on a still working Mac that runs Mac OS 9.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
I've been rendering, like this is sort of top secret, but you know, I've been rendering some old animations from '97. I was using a 3D program called Infinity D. So I've been re-rendering, trying not to like touch the files at all and just leaving them how they were back then. But just re-rendering, you know, a bigger output, because back then I think I had a 7300 Mac. It was a Power PC, I think it was. I bought it in '97. It probably was like $4 grand or something. And it was so slow at rendering.
Like hours of just
it was just days. So it's good to have the G5s, you know, got a bit more power than that machine. So it's taking a few days to render stuff, but it just sits there and does its thing. But it's nice to see some of the old work being re-rendered.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's sort of.
You're planning to feature that work as NFTs in the future? Definitely.
That's I've got a few different styles that I'll be sort of releasing. So I'll have definitely a pixel style. That will just be, you know, the pixel chain for all my icons.
Nice.
And then I'll have, you know, 3D animation, and then I've got, you know, I want to do some new work as well. It's important to not just get stuck into the past, but it's important to show my history as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's part of kind of carving your place in the space and showing who you are, and then sort of blossoming out from there. I'm really excited to see what you do, since you play with so many different mediums. It should be really, really cool stuff coming up soon.
It's so exciting. Like, I'm so hyped about it. And I'm just jotting down so many ideas for animations, and it just gives you, it's just that adrenaline thing that it just brings this creative energy in. And so many of my friends are just similar, where they're just like, you know, I want to do this. And just the whole buzz with the NFT thing, I just love it.
Yeah. Lucy DC was asking, he said, we'd love to hear more about his work with designing icons for Macintosh also. So separate from what you created on your website, you actually you created icons for them?
No, this is for Mac. It wasn't for Mac, it was for myself.
Oh, I see. But still, I'm sure that they were widely used because they were super cool, or are super cool.
I don't know if you know 123 Clan. They're just like graffiti artist designers. Basically, a few years ago, he's like, dude, I've still got those icons. I still use them.
So awesome.
Because they're, you know.
Still work.
What's, how many years is it for antique?
Yay. And we have one more piece that you're creating after this one.
Oh, this is the
second,
the last piece.
Okay, cool, sweet.
Oh, I'm just getting a bit confused. It's a bit difficult trying to keep reference and
Yeah. Doing live art is really nerve-wracking. So everybody give it up for Myrta, because yeah, it's like we were saying, it's like client over your shoulder feeling, even though it's a much low pressure situation here. It still just feels weird having eyes on you while you're trying to make something.
I've mucked it up a little bit, but
oh, good. I'm glad.
Look, even everyone makes mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's like the fun part too. It helps watching other artists in their process and watching them create and like stumble through mistakes. I mean, it gives other artists confidence to get through any blocks that they're experiencing.
That's why you need undo.
Sometimes I wish there was one for real life. There've definitely been like sleep deprived nights that I've like tried to command undo something, like coming home from work at like 2 a.m. like oh, undo, I wanted to pour that in a different glass. I don't know, I've had like weird situations.
It's funny when you do a lot of work on the computer and then you try to undo, like you're trying to undo a phone or something. Exactly, like you're like touch screening on the phone and then you start touch screening on the computer, like your brain just like, no, it's like, please go to sleep. Yeah. Yeah. What was it like for you coming into the NFT space so far? Like, who have you met so far in the space, and who would you like to meet that you've heard about so far? Oh, one of my like pixel icons would definitely be E-Boy.
Oh, cool.
I only saw E-Boy like that they were on Foundation, I think. I only discovered them the other day because I was thinking about them going, because of the whole pixel art thing, and that's their whole career is based on pixel art, and they've been doing it for decades. And I saw that they were on because they were asking, how do you get on there and all this stuff, and I'm just like, the amount of experience those guys have got, it's incredible. Yeah. I just really admire their work. They've just got, if you don't know who they are, just look up E-Boy. I've got one of their books, which is just like a Bible. It's that thick, it's this massive book. It's super heavy.
Let's see if I can look them up.
It's just obscene how much work they've done. I was pleased to see that they were doing it. Aphex Twin, but.
Oh yeah, I love them. So you were influenced by their art and like music videos?
I just love, the music.
Yeah, me too. I remember seeing the video for Come to Daddy at like 3 a.m. on MTV's Amped when I was like 11 or 12 years old and like at a sleepover and everybody else was asleep. And I was like, what is this? Like, where can I hear more music like this? I thought the video was so cool. Chris Cunningham. Chris Cunningham is an insane director. I love his work. Let me see if I can pull up E-Boy. We've had a lot of awesome pixel artists come for Pixel Chain Live Art, and there's just like a whole separate world of pixel artists within this space. It's just really cool. Like I was saying earlier, in all the different mediums that are out there, it's like there's a mini universe for those artists to, commune with each other, uplift each other, and, cross promote and all that stuff and share with each other. I love it.
Yeah. And also, I suppose the game aspect of it all too, because that's, where it pretty much comes from.
Yeah, totally. And that's also in its own world too. Ta-da! So in the next 24 hours, we're going to be hyping up the release of these NFTs on the Whale Discord tomorrow. I just shared that Twitter link for that announcement. And Yeah, so I'm really excited to have you back tomorrow on the Whale Community Discord, and really excited for your first drop, and honored that you decided to do that with Pixel Chain. Yeah, so thank you very much. Everybody be sure to follow Myrta. And is there anything else that you want us to know about what's going on in the next 24 hours? Any details?
Just follow my Twitter. It's probably the best thing. And also,
okay, yes. So follow his Twitter. Keep your ears to the ground on the Whale Community Twitter. But we'll be in the Whale Discord tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and that's going to be at discord.gg/whale. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thanks again, Myrta.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.